Game 7, which will be on ESPN Monday night at 8 Eastern. Now, I'm going to just let this sit on the screen for just 1 second. This is how incredible the home team domination has been. See the Hurricanes there, 13. In the NHL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA, only the 08 Celtics, who, by the way, won the whole thing, had a longer streak with the home team winning each game to start a playoff run. So what's more critical here? Game 7 in Raleigh at the home of the Hurricanes, Monday night, 8 Eastern ESPN. The winner gets Tampa on one day of it.
Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat facing elimination here tonight in Game 6 on the road. Jimmy Butler continues his remarkable bounce-back game. Butler turns, fires, it's good! We have a Game 7.
Game 7, we got to come out and find a way to win.
We get to take it back to the crib and win Game 7.
All right, so the Celtics are 2.5-point favorites to win on Sunday night in Miami, according to Caesar Sportsbook, but ESPN's BPI makes the Heat slight favorites. Celtics 25-9 all-time in Game 7s, the most wins and best winning percentage of any franchise. Miami 6-4 in Game 7. So, question is, what do Jalen Rose and Stephen A. expect to see Sunday? They're with our Malika Andrews.
Gentlemen, the Miami Heat, they forced a Game 7 back in their house. Stephen A., I want to start with you on the Celtics side of things. What do they need to do to close this series out?
How about not replicating your effort in Game 6? How about Jaylen Brown scoring more than 2 points in an entire second half? How about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown not combining for a grand total of 1 shot in the first 11 minutes of a fourth quarter? That would help. That would help immensely. Though these are the 2 stars of the Boston Celtics. Now that Jimmy Butler has reminded you, there is a star on the Miami Heat coming for you. It's incumbent upon the stars to step up and answer the call. We know about everything else they got to do defensively and what have you, and do your job as supplementary parts. But Game 7s come down to the stars, and the stars for the Boston Celtics have got to show up. Otherwise, we're going to remember them not so fondly for years to come from this one.
And if you're the Miami Heat, the best player on either team is going to drive the narrative in Game 7. Stephen A. just mentioned it, and that was Jimmy Butler in Game 6. Can it also be him in Game 7? But here's the difference. At home, your role players perform better. So we saw Kyle Lowry play well today and knock down shots, 18 points, 10 assists. Strus started to make shots. If they can find Bam Adebayo's offense on their home floor, the Miami Heat got a terrific chance to close out this series.
Well, and Jimmy Butler, he took a load on in this Game 6. I asked Eric Spoelstra whether or not he was concerned at all about his minutes, what he needs to do, and he said, you know what, Jimmy's going to do whatever it takes to be ready for that Game 7, not replicate what happened in the bubble when he laid it all out there. He said this is a different point in the season, and he believes they can do it, Stephen A.
That means he believes in Jimmy Butler, as everyone does. Medical staff, MVPs of this game, one could argue. But I'll tell you this, we didn't bring this up in the last several months, Jalen. All that conversation about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown coexisting with one another, obviously that's been thrown out of the window based on how Boston looked since the new year arrived. If they lose this series, who's to say that subject's not going to be broached again?
So we were talking about Jason Tatum as a top 10 player for sure.
Absolutely.
And people were elevating him on paper ahead of a guy like Jimmy Butler, who's already led the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals. In today's game, Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter, 1 shot attempt, as he said, and 4 turnovers. It's going to be imperative for him to show up, in particular for a team that's been to the conference finals 4 times.
I think it's safe to say the days of underestimating Jimmy Butler have come to an end.
It's over. The days of underestimating Jimmy Butler are over. We get to see it all play out in Game 7. The 2 best words in sports other than weekend off is Game 7, and we get to see it. Back to you guys in the studio.
To ever reach the NBA Finals 6 times in an 8-year span. Now, the last team to do it was Michael Jordan's Bulls. Remember those runs they had? They made 3 straight from 1991 to 1993, then made it 3 straight years again from 96 to 98. After MJ took some time off to play minor league baseball, they won all 6 titles. The Magic and Kareem Showtime Lakers put together a few runs of 6 and 8. Overall, they made 8 finals trips in 10 years from 1980 to 89. Jerry West's Lakers also did it from 1962 to 1973, making 9 finals trips in that 12-year span, but they only managed 1 championship. They beat the Knicks in 1972. And the last team to do it was Michael Jordan's Bulls. Remember those runs they had? They made 3 straight from 1991 to 1993, then made it 3 straight years again from 96 to 98. After MJ took some time off to play minor league baseball, they won all 6 titles. The Magic and Kareem Showtime Lakers put together a few runs of 6 and 8. Overall, they made 8 finals trips in 10 years from 1980 to 89. Jerry West's Lakers also did it from 1962 to 1973, making 9 finals trips in that 12-year span, but they only managed 1 championship. They beat the Knicks in 1972. And finally, Bill Russell's Celtics made 12 finals appearances from 1957 to 1969. They won 11 of them. Their only loss was in 1958 to the St. Louis Hawks. More now from Greenberg and the Countdown crew.
Hi, Michael Eaves. Thank you. We begin with a question you were not expecting. Jalen Rose, what was the best show on TV?
Collins, Forsythe, Heather Locklear, Dynasty.
No,
Dynasty.
it was Dallas, but I don't want to sidetrack us.
Yeah,
I was a Dallas guy myself.
We might have gone with Dallas if the Mavericks had been in the finals, but we'll go with Dynasty because that's the question Michael Eaves is asking. Does that word apply, Michael Wilbon, to what Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green have built in Golden State?
You know, if they go this one and another one, 4 doesn't. 3 certainly doesn't make you a dynasty. It makes you a great, 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 great team.
Yes.
And the best team of its era. A dynasty to me, you got to go at least 5 in a short period of time. I'm not sure the Spurs, who won 5, qualify as a dynasty. It's just an all-time great franchise. But, you know, I'm old man, get off my lawn, Greeny. I don't think I'm going with 4 is not a dynasty.
6 in 8 years with 4 championships in that span, Stephen A. Would you be willing to call them a dynasty?
No, I'm not. And I don't need numbers to do it in terms of the number of championships. I'm thinking about how many times you've been unblemished or you've been blemished. When I think about Michael Jordan, I think about 6-0, undefeated in those 6. When I think about Magic Johnson, it's 5 titles in 1 decade. I think about it along those lines. There are 2 title losses on the Golden State Warriors docket with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Obviously, we got to pay attention to that. Kevin Durant goes down, and Klay Thompson ultimately went down against Toronto because they clearly would have beat Toronto. They might have swept them as far as I'm concerned. So we understand that. But in the end, you know, I'm with Wilbon from the standpoint, come to me in the next 3 years because I believe the Golden State Warriors will win 2 titles in the next 3 years, and that's when we're talking dynasty.
You notice these basketball historians both challenged the Warriors to not only win it this year, but to win it again to even justify this conversation. I believe y'all because 11 and 13, Bill Russell, that happened. Magic in the Showtime Lakers, 9 finals in 12 years, 5 championships. That happened. The Bulls, 6 in 8 years, unblemished Michael Jordan. That happened. But here's the one I want to throw out there. How about LeBron James as a dynasty in itself? 9 out of 10 NBA finals, 4 NBA championships with 3 separate teams. The 5th spot may be up for grab if the Golden State Warriors could do what y'all said.
No.
You don't like the LeBron one?
LeBron is on the Mount Rushmore. Mad love and respect. 6 title losses. No. No.
The definition of the word is an interesting one because let's look at the Celtics of the 80s, the Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge. They won 3 championships in that time. They were in the finals. It felt like practically every year. I feel like there were some people who would call that a dynasty.
Yeah, New Englanders. Because the team in the purple and gold was better. And they went head-to-head, slightly better. It's wonderful. Like all these teams now, people want to call dynasties. They couldn't beat them. They couldn't beat Larry, Joe, Bird, McHale, and Parrish, and Dennis Johnson. They couldn't beat them. But the Lakers did. And so I can't put a team as a dynasty of that period when there was a peer that was better.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm very glad that you were not a teacher in a class in which I was a student because this is these are tough grades you guys are giving out here. If they win 4 championships in an 8-year span, 2 of those losses we're talking about, to your point, Kevin Durant gets hurt, otherwise they clearly win that. They're up 3-1 on LeBron.
That's a bad loss.
And that was a bad loss after Draymond gets suspended.
Well, listen, I always felt that Cleveland was given a stimulus package when Draymond got suspended. But I also remember the first year, okay? when, Kyrie and Kevin Love went down.
Yeah.
And because
Correct.
of that, that's how they won the
bring
first.
that up.
And so the bottom line is you can look at it both ways. And that's the reason we come to the conclusion we had.
All right, we are getting ready for all the action tonight. We'll have a 60-minute countdown coming your way at 7:30 Eastern, leading into all the action of Game 6 tonight here right